So this work is called Endure the Night of This World, and obviously it's dominated by this massively COVID-shaped solar eclipse, which in many ways is a response to a work I began almost a year ago at the start of the pandemic called New Spring Has Sprung. The composition is purposely a play on this older drawing. That drawing does seem to be more optimistic, but I wanted to say that they're basically both on about the same thing. So I decided to make a video because, as much as my work is always seen as being dark, and I guess so be it to some extent, I'm aware that the title Endure the Night of This World might look like I'm riffing on the hopelessness that a lot of people are struggling to keep at bay at the moment, and that's not it at all. And this drawing isn't that. So maybe I do want it both ways. Sometimes I do work best when I'm exercising my darkest thoughts, and I think I enjoy making my work the most when it's at its darkest. But I also believe that the ruminations that become these works have a responsibility to be constructive, to produce at least some speculations on something beyond the crises of the present. I have a big problem with the word hope, and it's not about pissing on anyone else's need for a ray of sunshine, as if I don't need that too. It's more that I think hope is often the wrong word. It places all our eggs in one basket, and that leaves us just exposed when despair does come crawling. So the word endure, to think of our plight through an idea of endurance, feels more appropriate to me. To keep going, even if there is no light at the end of the tunnel, even if it often seems like mad to keep going. Keeping going because I guess we have to. And in this sense, I guess this work is as much a note to self, a response to when you wake up at 4 in the morning and everything feels like a lost cause. A note to self, I admit, for me as an artist, keeping going despite never probably getting the kind of life-affirming validation that I guess most of us seek. So the night of this world doesn't necessarily mean the end of the world, as in the end of all things, but that I think we are in a stage where the story given to us by our dominant ideology is no longer working. I don't agree with everything Adam Curtis says, but I do believe that we live in an age of what he calls hypernormalization. I do believe that 30 years ago, the consumerist dream world created a convincible picture of an obtainable paradise. But now, although we still live the same way, we only exist as if we believed in this, whilst in fact the dream has gone and it hasn't been replaced. And I think this void has as much to do with the mental health crisis as any other commonly identified causation. So in this drawing, in what the world it creates, still the only dry land is this calcified, deadened rock mounds that kind of come up out of the land, the sea-like feature. And it's a world which is still difficult to avoid getting involved in, this kind of, how can you call it anything but apart from a late capitalist world? And the alternatives often seem far worse. Destitution, addiction, cycles, such like that. I guess in my darkest kind of moments, when despair does sort of kind of knock at the door, I do feel like we live in like an Hunger Games society, but I don't want to dwell on that. I think what the drawing focuses on mainly is like an inner landscape, like the inner psyche, I guess. And these raft-like features, which are kind of dotted all over this like sea-like feature, constitute psyches trying to do the best they can in a difficult situation. And I guess this raft, this one here, is very much a depiction of my own conflicting psyche, my own raft, navigating like rough inner seas, to use a pretty kind of naff pun. And you can see it's not perfect. There are chauvinistic, even, dare I say, fascistic sides. There's the dead-end pleasure-seeking sides, the side being corroded by guilt and shame, the inner conflicts, and the side that is ever more desperately trying to seek some kind of life-affirming social validation. But then there's also this character who is weary and cannot see where he's going. But nonetheless, it carries on, it keeps going. And I think that's like that kind of the message, the departing message of this work.